Welcome to, if it's your first time here, you're so welcome. We get together like this every Tuesday at the same time and generally have a different topic each week. This week, I want to talk about putting your state of mind first and above everything else, and why that's so important. And for those of you that are just here for the first time, just as a kind of opening, I recently lost the love of my life, my fiance Francesco, in December to a very sudden heart attack. So I do talk a lot about my experience of my relationship with Francesco, and I also talk about my experience of our new relationship, essentially our spiritual connection, our eternal nature. So just in case some of you are here and you're wondering who Francesco is or why she's talking about that, it was a very sudden loss. So he does tend to come up in the conversation a lot. And we have a lot to learn from him. We have a lot to learn from just the experience of pure love that I'm seeing on a deeper level as a result of his death. Such an unlikely circumstance to awaken such an interest in love and spiritual connection and the eternal nature that we all are, that never dies, that never ends, even when the physical moves on. So I like to open up today with a little grounding exercise, and I'd invite you to just close your eyes with me now, with your 2 feet firmly planted, if they can be, on the ground, as I take you through something that just will really help you get present to this clinic. I've called it a clinic for a reason. I do believe a lot of healing takes place here. And in order to just really get the most out of it, we want to separate all the tasks we were just engaging and then just merge into this particular space now. And so to do that, I'd like you to just close your eyes and begin to notice your breath. If you could count with me, it will really help if you count your breathing. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold it. And out. 2, 3, 4. And in, 2, 3, 4. And out. 2, 3, 4. And in, 2, 3, 4. And out. 2, 3, 4. Starting to feel your body sink into the chair. I want you to see roots now coming from your feet down through the ground, the floorboards, right into the underground, down through the earth, and right down to a rock at the bottom of the earth, and wrap those roots around that rock. And I want you to imagine golden light emerging from that rock. This is the light of your wisdom. See it merging up through the roots, through the ground, the underground, the floorboards, and see it now merging up through your feet. With your intention now, I want you to see that golden light of your divine wisdom going all the way up through your body. Keep your breathing going with it. See the light going from the ankles to the shins to the kneecaps, on up through the thighs to the hip bones, and on up through the torso, right up to the shoulders, and down through the arms, and out through the fingers, the hands, and back up through the fingers, the arms, the shoulders, and up through the neck, the head, and out through the hair. Just bathing now for a few minutes in this golden light, this elixir of light, your divine wisdom. Taking your time to notice anything in your body from tingling to twitching to total calm, becoming sensitive to the feeling you're in. And trusting that this wisdom that is your eternal nature, is who you are at core, is an intelligence bigger than you, surrounding you and available for you in your life. Trusting that this wisdom will guide you to hear what you need to hear on today's call, to ask what you need or want to ask, to see what it is you most need to see, and giving yourself the chance to rely on that wisdom rather than that intellect that tends to run the show when you're listening to others or when you're trying to figure out a problem or find a solution. So set your intention that you'll use this divine wisdom to get what you need from today's call, today's clinic. And when you're ready, just come back to the room, sitting comfortably and being here now. Okay, so some of you will just notice that, you know, that simple exercise moves you into a whole new world. And you didn't have to go anywhere to experience that. And yet, how often we forget that just taking that 5 minutes or 3 minutes or 7 minutes to reconnect, to get plugged into the mains again, is so helpful. I was having a meditation the other day, and my meditations have begun to merge into conversations with Francesco. It's been very interesting to witness the development of this connection. And I felt overwhelmed by the changes ahead of me. The fact that at some point I'll need to leave the cocoon of family. At some point I'll need to consider relocating. At some point I'll need to readjust how I'm doing business. At some point I'll have to, and it started to become more and more overwhelming as I thought about it. And it was interesting that in one of our conversations, I said to him, you know, how do I start? Where do I start? And he said, your breath. And I just in that moment was like, of course. Of course, I must start with being back here now and being in the present and taking it a breath at a time, a moment at a time, a day at a time. And I wanted to share with you that the breath is one of the ways that we can really settle down an insecure mind. And it might seem too simple. It might seem to you like, no, there's got to be more to it than that. But what I noticed in this past few weeks is when my mind is getting busy and worried and overwhelmed and jumping ahead to the future or jumping back to the past with regrets, the breath is my tool that is able to bring the busy mind down. Now, I think that is incredible that we're already designed to function optimally. I've spent years running outside of myself, going to this, that, and the other, trying to find the secret to a less busy mind. And here is a tool that the divine has imbued, has given us, that we just forget because it seems too simple. So that's the first thing I want to share is like, if you take nothing else from today, take your breath away with you and use it. Use it to your advantage. I also was learning this past weekend that, and I'll do this little exercise with you, that there's a state of breathing that moves us into what's known as theta waves, or you might know it as theta waves, however you pronounce it. And that these theta waves that we can move into are where we get our best clarity, where we have peace, and where we have a clearer connection to our wisdom. And it goes as simple as this: your out breath needs to just be longer than your in breath. So if you were to take 3 minutes out of your day and you were to sit and breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth or the nose, but every time the out breath that bit longer than the in breath, you move into what's known as a theta state. And it's from that place that we have a deeper intuition, a connection to clarity and wisdom. So it's not like you have to figure out your thinking to fix your state of mind. It's not like you have to go and fix your thinking or even have less thinking. It's that in the use of the very way we are designed, in the use of that breathing, we can come into a quieter place that has access to answers, guidance, direction. So it can look like our to-do list is more important than that. I loved what one of my mentors said this past weekend. She said, how do you get your to-do list done? You quit adding to it. I just thought, that's brilliant. But before you even consider your to-do list, before you quit adding to it, I do want you to consider adding just 3 minutes of breathing like that. So simple, yet so powerful. Let me share a story with you about state of mind that my clients find helpful. And I recently was on a group workshop and shared it with the group, and a lot of people wrote to me afterwards about it. So I go home to visit my family quite often before the pandemic. And I can remember this one time being at home, and my father was in his usual busy state of mind. And as I walked into the kitchen, the kitchen table was full of financial papers, and he seems to always innocently be needing to figure out and get things tidied up in life before he goes. he's worried that when he goes, it's going to be a mess that's left behind. And the innocence of that, the innocence of not trusting what could occur. But anyway, so I go into the kitchen, and my father's in his usual state of low mood thinking, and he's got these papers due. And I said to him, "Oh, you know what, Daddy, I'm going to go for a walk. Do you want to come with me?" "No, I can't go for a walk." "Oh, you're always on holiday. You're always having a good time, aren't you? You go for a walk and have a nice time." And the old me, before I understood how we're made and the role of thought, would have taken that very personally. And I would have reacted, and I would have thought, oh, maybe I should be busy the way he is. And maybe he's right. Maybe life's not meant to be a holiday, really. And maybe it is meant to be serious, and I'm getting life wrong, aren't I? But see, I knew better in that moment. What I saw was my father in a very busy state of mind. Nothing to do with me. Now, the old me would have made it about me. Nothing to do with me. And my response from that place to him was very different. Okay, well, I'm going to go. See you in a bit. No reaction, no defensiveness, no, oh my God, am I getting it wrong because I'm going for a walk and I should be doing something else? No. What was interesting that happened was a couple of minutes later, as I'm putting on my walking gear, he came out to me and said, "You know what, I think I'm going to come with you. These papers can wait. You're not home that often." He realized something. And I said, okay, partly thinking to myself, oh my God, he's going to ruin my walk now. Like, he's in such a low mood. But anyway, and we go walking, and we're out walking in the countryside, and it's just beautiful in Ireland, all the different green hills and rivers and everything. And I noticed that he started falling out of his low mood thinking, out of his low state of mind. And the way I noticed it was this: he started talking about how beautiful the birds were. He started referring to the growth that was happening in the flowers. He started he fell out of his low state of mind and into the present moment. And that's what happens to us. We suddenly see clearly. He began to see the beauty around him. I, in the meantime, being interested in how the mind works, I'm noticing, oh, my dad's mood is lifting. Oh, the elevator of consciousness is going back up very quickly here. Oh, I'm glad I didn't make his reaction to me personal, and instead we're enjoying this beautiful walk. What was curious to me was how quickly his state of mind changed. Now, you might be saying to yourself, oh, well, going for a walk is the answer. No, it's built into us. Same way the breath is a part of our divine engineering, as my lovely colleague and mentor Mavis Karn talks about. Same way as our breath is part of this divine engineering, our state of mind is part of the divine engineering. It is designed to go back up. And as it does, we wake up to clarity, beauty, healing, direction. Let me give it to you this way. A lot of my clients really enjoy this analogy, is that imagine the Empire State Building. If you get into the elevator in the Empire State Building and you ask them to bring you to floor 3, you're not going to have much of a view. But if you ask them to bring you right to the top of the Empire State Building, once you get up to those upper floors, you have an entire view of New York City. You're seeing things you just wouldn't see on floor 3. Well, our state of mind is no different. When we drop into low moods, floor 3, when we get into resistance and seriousness and worry and jumping ahead to the future and jumping back into the past, we don't see life as it really is. We don't see very clearly. We see a lack of time and financials that need sorted out, or relationships that need dealt with, or weight that needs to come off. But as we go up, which we're designed to, remember, and we go to those upper floors of consciousness, our true nature, our eternal nature, the state that I know Francesco lives in now full time. As we go up there, and we as humans do it too. You don't need to die to get this. As we go up there, we have a whole other experience of life. We have a clearer, calmer, more, is the word subjective? Oh, we experience, we just know what we need to do. And things get done. I really want you to hear this. It's not that things don't get taken care of when you're up there. Everybody thinks, down here on the lower floors, things get taken care of. But actually, on the upper floors, things get taken care of without your exhausting yourself, without pressure, without efforting and pushing. That's why sometimes something that's been taking you weeks to do, you suddenly get it done in the space of 2 hours, because the elevator of consciousness just was up on the right floor to take care of that. So this is why we want to put our state of mind before anything else. Apart from the fact that it also impacts everybody around us. I know that my state of mind impacted my father that day, because he joined me and he rose up. He fell out of his worried, serious, I need to before I can feel better thinking. And he fell back into the moment. And this is so simple, you could miss it. But it is something that has been helping me so much, especially in grief. Do you know how powerful it is in grief to know, oh man, you just dropped down a few floors. That's why this feels absolutely awful today. Just let yourself off the hook. Versus, oh my God, I can't bear this experience. This is so terrible. It's always going to be this way. I can't deal with it. I can't deal with it. When you don't know, you've dropped. And that's all it is, a drop in state of mind, a drop in consciousness. When you don't know that, you live at the mercy of your moods, and you make up a lot of innocent crap about the future and the past. You don't see right. You see from floor 3 of the Empire State Building. Now, I think this would probably be a good place to just check in with you. Anything coming to mind, anything that you just want to share or ask about. And it could be related to something specific, this piece about state of mind. I've seen it at work most recently in grief, but a lot in my relationship when Francesco was alive, and a lot in my business, and a lot around money and body. And so it impacts all areas. So please don't be afraid of being specific to your question. If you'd like to come on in. And you can just
Hello.
Hey, who have we got?
It's Charlene. Hi, Grace.
Oh, Charlene, hello. Can't see you.
Hi.
Hold on. Oh, there you. Oh, sorry, gone. Go ahead, Charlene, while I'm trying to find you on my screen.
So it's so funny, and by the way, I saw your email quite late, so I apologize for my lateness. But it's so interesting you talking about staying present and rather than rushing ahead to the future and all of those things. What's interesting is that I've been doing a lot of inward transformation in regards to being present. And so I did like a lot of like internal work earlier, and I always like to take an action after I do that kind of work. And the action was to rest. Now, bearing in mind, I've got a lot to do today. I've got stuff to clean up in the house. I've got to, go to the supermarket and do my shopping and little bits and pieces. But I got back in bed and I just cocooned. I'm wrapped up in a blanket on top of my bed. And it's so interesting. Like I've been able to still create money from my bed, but even if I hadn't, just to have a space to kind of steal away and do nothing and not feel guilty about that. The world didn't crash down on me and I didn't die. I'm really feeling the power of staying present. And there have been many times, even whilst I've been resting, I have felt maybe a bit of a nudge to do other things rather than staying here. And also, it feels irresponsible to stay here when I've got so much to do. But I know that this is really, really good for me. And, when I listen to your voice, I hear the presence in your voice. And I just wonder how much magic I am missing when I'm not present. How many intuitive nudges I'm not feeling because I'm rushing. So it's a real pleasure and divine timing to be restful and in your presence at the same time. I really believe that this is just divine timing. So I just wanted to say thank you for the space. Um, and yeah, this is me just in bed.
I love it. I love it, Charlene. Good for you to follow the nudge to just both rest and be here now. So often so often we can, well, let me put it this way. So often we are living with so much thinking that we don't realize we're living with. And it's exhausting. Like, I remember I used to go, when I first started looking in this direction, and I was exploring truth and the role of mind and the role of thought and the role of consciousness. And I would have to say to my coach at the time, I need to go and take a nap now. I can't listen to any more. I'm just so exhausted. And he said to me, you know, Grace, you might get really, really, really tired because you've been living on fumes for such a long time. So don't worry about it. Let yourself rest. You know, you may dip, but you'll come back up. And that is so true, because we just don't realize how much thinking we're living in that we're not even aware of. Just noise. I would also consider that there are many things we think we need to be doing, we should be doing, we gotta be doing, when in fact, that can often just be more chatter. Like a habit. One of my clients has a habit that she can't relax unless the dishes are done. Who made that up? I mean, that's thinking that we create. I can't relax unless the dishes are done. So our life becomes living by a rule that we decided upon. It's so innocent. Is it any wonder we're tired? So thank you, Charlene, for following your nudges. I have a sense you follow more nudges than you give yourself credit for.
That's interesting.
You're not missing as much as you think you are.
Thank you for seeing me, and thank you for saying that. I really appreciate you. Thank you.
You're so welcome, sweetheart. You're so welcome. Anybody else want to share or ask a question or tell us what you're seeing? Robin.
I was just responding to Charlene. I feel like you're like the bud, like growing and getting bigger and bigger, and realizing that you're gonna, realize that you're gonna open up, so this is like you're, that unwinding, that restful, peaceful stage of just like exploring and seeing, and just resting, and then you're gonna open up and bloom, almost like a flower,
Wow, that's powerful. Thank you.
Welcome.
Grace, can I ask something?
Sure. Who have I got? Is that Karen?
Yeah.
Yeah, come on, Karen.
First of all, thank you. And Charlene, that was really cool. And I just wanted to share time these days. Like I want to be right now because I'm good at doing all this stuff, breathing and going higher, and I don't feel bad about leaving the dirty dishes. I have to.
Okay, Karen, let me just stop you. Let me just stop you there, honey. Your internet connection is not strong enough for me, at least, to hear coherently what you're saying. So
Maybe if I
or I suggest you type it in, because I think we had this issue last week. I'm not sure that you're. Oh, there you are.
It's not good when I sit by the window. I realize that's when you have problems hearing me.
I can hear you now. Could you start again? Just go ahead. Yeah.
So I just said I'm having a really hard time these last day or so, especially today, because whereas I'm usually really good at living in the way that you describe of the breathing and raising my vibration and being in that place, I'm going through this thing because I'm getting to know a man, and it's really throwing me off. I can't, I've been staying very high. In fact, he's become extremely attracted to me for these qualities. But it's been going on too long, the issue of not knowing when we're going to meet again and not having a date or a time, just having it open-ended, and I'm feeling like I'm really having a challenge about staying in that place. In fact, I'm getting sick. I mean, I have vertigo about it. I'm really dizzy because of, he says we're going to see each other soon and we'll be able to give each other a hug and all that. And then it's been days and nothing has happened. There's no setting of a time or a meeting place. And this is really hard for me. And so my question comes, I'm trying to find the fine line between setting boundaries in a loving way and being accepting and going to that higher place. Like, I already feel better from this meeting, this clinic. I already feel better being with you and everyone's energy. I already feel better. But I think, I don't think it's good for me not to have some basic level of commitment. I don't know whether that's a healthy balance. Do you think?
So let me just,
Because I wrote to him.
Okay, let me just stop you there, Karen, because it's going in and out again. If I have an answer, if this answer, if what I share isn't enough, please feel free to message me on Instant Messenger. What I'm hearing and what you're sharing is that you're very good at feeling better very quickly. And you've noticed that you weren't feeling too good. In fact, you even noticed vertigo as a result of a lot of thinking about this meeting or this person or this experience. Now, I don't know what you should do where boundaries are concerned or about this man or anything like that. I just know that you know how to feel better. And when we feel better, our wisdom rises up and we know exactly what to do. Now we get to use our thinking to make up rules, a bit like my client making up the rule about the dishes. She can't relax until the dishes are done. Who made that up? And I just invite you to consider, really, you really can't feel better until there's a commitment about a meeting? What are you hearing in that, Carmen?
I think you got it, Grace. I'm laughing at myself, okay?
That's a really healthy sign. Yeah. See, it's so innocent. We're all walking around creating something up here. We're creating our experience with our thinking. And we just want to get really familiar with, oh, there I go again. Oh, look what I'm creating now. I mean, I created this thing. Sorry for Dominic, the man on the show with us here today, and other men, but I created this thing where I was like, I'm not going to be okay unless I eat spinach and steak because it's time of the month. So I need to have spinach and steak, otherwise I'm not going to be okay. And then I got suspicious of that. Really, Grace? Really? You're not going to be okay? you're going to suffer through the next 3 days if you don't get. Look how we are making up false needs. False needs. I need this so I can feel that. You can feel wonderful right now, especially when you wake up to what you're making up. And Karen, sounds to me like you just woke up to what you're making up. You're so welcome. Who else would like to come on? By the way, just as a kind of modeling point, the fact that Karen started laughing like that and stopped taking the situation so seriously is a really good indicator that she broke through the rules she was making up. Just FYI for all of us. It's really common that when you realize the stress you're putting on yourself, that you kind of fall out of the seriousness and you start laughing. You get a sense of humor about yourself. So that was great that you came on, Karen. Anybody else want to share?
I'd love
Or
to share.
question? Is that Amy? Hi,
Yeah,
Amy.
hi. I hopped on. I had to hop on a little bit late, so apologies. I wanted to share because I really heard something in what Charlene was sharing that was really potent for me. I have a lot of thinking around resting as well, as you know, Grace. And what also came to the fore for me when she was talking was the connection with that to money. And to my own money experience and story, if you want to call it that. But Charlene, when you were talking about not letting yourself rest, you know, because there's always more to do. For me, that's always hooked up to money, I notice. And it has me spinning, and I've been spinning a lot, like not resting. I think I might be resting, but even when I'm resting, I'm in this head of like constantly just generating thought. And often it's generating thought about, you know, what I need to do next, what I need to create next, what I need to market. You know, it's like it's so heavy in my head around that. And I do recognize now quite well that I'm exhausting myself with that thought. Like you've helped me really see that so well, Grace. But I have such a hard time unhooking from, like, it just looks to me still like, but I need the money, you know, now my bank account's empty and I need, you know, just to be explicit, it's like, these are the highs and lows that I ride. And in reality, that's really what it looks like. Cause I'm like, I got to bring in money right now. The rent is due. And so the worry cycle kicks up, you know, the dust gets kicked up. And it's very hard. I find it very hard to unhook from that.
I think it's more than money, though. I mean, I don't know what your relationship is with money, but I just saw it when you had COVID that, you know, in the first day or so, you couldn't turn yourself off of the computer and rest and unwind. And I, as somebody who knows you a little bit through yoga, I was like, what is she doing? She should be resting. She should be sleeping. She should be hibernating. She should be, you know, whatever. And I noticed, you know, after a couple of days, I think you accepted those lows and you accepted the fact that you needed to unwind and step back and, you know, I mean, and be more caring and compassionate to yourself, like we've talked about over and over again, you know, and then you were able to open up after that and start your next class, you know, I mean, with vim and with vigor and excitement, and but you know, you just needed to unhook.
Yeah.
That was my take. I mean, but I also feel like, you know, you're doing, yeah, I mean, this might be just you like doing things, you know, so just sometimes to unhook and just, and so do I think so do most people, because they get that sense of accomplishment when they're doing something and they're accomplishing and they're ticking off their boxes and whatever. But like you've taught me, you know, that you need to step back and be aware of those lows and let yourself be there, like Charlene is doing right now, is, you know, because she canceled all of her activities for the rest of the day, which is great, you know, and just is having that date for herself and just to, you know, explore what it feels like. So I don't know.
Yeah,
Amy,
yeah, thanks,
can,
Ron.
can I ask you as well, because this is really good. Thank you for sharing so openly and so vulnerably, an area that, you know, a lot of us face when we're in our own business and we're doing our own thing.
Yeah.
And this, you don't want this to be, I can see it, but I can't unhook myself. And then we start getting frustrated with ourselves. You know, you want to see when your mood goes down, your lens goes to money or goes to relationship. Somebody else's lens. Like when my mood goes down, my lens goes to all the things I did wrong with Francesco. Now, there's something about seeing that. Now, the way you're saying it to me at the moment is, yeah, but no, it's coming up because the rent's due. Well, no, the rent is sort of like a side issue. That you want to see that we are living and thinking we don't realize we're living in, that makes us really, really tired, and the mood can drop. The elevator goes down and our lens starts looking at the habitual problems. So one week it's the relationship, the next week it's the money, the next week it's the house, the following week it's the body, until finally we wake up to, oh man, it's just what I'm making up from a low mood.
Yeah. I'm gonna have my laughing moment like Karen did. Because it's so simple. When you put it in those terms, it's so simple. And there's always gonna be a oh, everyone froze. Is that me? Everyone's frozen right now.
I can hear you. Can you hear me? We can hear you.
Hear you.
Okay. She can have her freeze laugh. She'll come back on. See, when we don't know what we're doing, it's so innocent, and it really does look like make time for yourself, you know, rest more, you know, fix your schedule. Well, yeah, maybe. But the thing I'm pointing you to today takes care of all of that. And that is, know what state of mind you're in and prioritize getting it back up. A good sleep does wonders for this. An afternoon siesta, Italian style, even if your ego is telling you, no way, I don't have time for that. If you're tired, let yourself off the hook. Now, here's something else I want to share, which is you want to get familiar with your indicators of a low state of mind. I call these, thanks to Dr. Bill Pettit, who I really respect in this arena, he calls them, and I now call them, alarm bells. Your alarm bells for a low mood, a low state of mind. You might notice things like gentle things like irritability, anxiousness, not sleeping well, You might notice things like your appetite goes or gets bigger. You might notice things like your heart's palpitating more. You might notice things like headaches begin, and you might get stronger alarm bells the noisier it gets in here. One of my clients in Boston the other day was telling me, you know, Grace, I missed the alarm bells and I didn't notice what was going on until my hair was falling out. Now that really got her attention. You don't want to wait until your hair's falling out or you can't breathe properly or your vertigo's so bad you can't get out of bed. You don't want to, those are pretty severe alarm bells, but they're okay. They're just, the system is designed to get your attention, and it will get your attention gently to begin with. And then it will get your attention a little harsher. And then it will really start getting your attention if you're not listening. And that's beautiful. That is divine engineering. Because what that's doing is it's helping you realize what floor you're living on. And most of us just don't realize we're living on floor 3 and we don't realize it. You know, we're living in a level of stressful thinking day in, day out, day in, day out. And it feels so normal that then we're like, what? My hair's falling out? Well, that's new. But see, the beautiful thing about what we're exploring and the path we're on is that you start living in a feeling of well-being more of the time. And so when the experience of stress or worry or fear rises up, it feels bloody awful. And it's supposed to feel bloody awful because you're not living there as much as you used to. It's actually a sign of well-being that you become intolerant to living in feelings of stress and panic and anxiety. And you know, you don't even have to worry about it because the system takes care of it. The system is giving you the alarm bells. One of my constant alarm bells for when I'm going too hard and too fast is my shoulder will start to really play up. And then eventually my neck will get into some trouble. And that used to be just the way I lived life. Like, oh yeah, just put up with this, go from osteopath to chiropractor to doctor to doctor to doctor to doctor to doctor. Nobody can find anything. And then it was like, oh right, that's meant to happen. That's supposed to happen to get my attention, that I'm living too busy up here, you know? And so now that doesn't happen as much. And when it does happen, boy, do I notice it. It's like, whoa, where did that come from? So you could do a little exercise if you feel like it and consider, what are your indicators for a low state of mind? And you don't want to judge yourself about it. You don't want to try and do anything about it. You just want to get familiar with, oh, right, I'm on floor 3. I guess I should take that nap. Oh, right, this means I really shouldn't make a decision right now because I clearly am not seeing right on this floor. Oh, I guess I shouldn't have that conversation with my husband because I'm probably going to blow up in the middle of it, given that I'm living down here. You don't want to judge it. You just want to use it as really helpful information. And again, do nothing else but prioritize the state of mind. The state of mind is everything. Your breath will help you with that. So I think we're near closing. I think I saw a question come in. Amy, did you come back, by the way? If you're back, would you like to come back on? Just to finish what you were saying? And if not, I just am going to go to this. Oh, there you are, Amy.
Sure.
So you laughed your way off Zoom. Tell us what happened next.
I laughed and my internet went out. I broke my internet. Just seeing, it was really the light bulb of seeing that those are my indicators, everything you just said. And I was laughing because it always makes me laugh how simple it truly is. You clear. And what you said, Robin, was so true. Like, when I first got COVID, I was like online and I was still doing things. And, but I know that like there gets to a point where your body and like you're saying, Grace, your body and your system just says enough. And you actually physically, and that happens to me quite a bit. And I'm trying to remedy that, but like where you get to the point where it just isn't possible, like it's not possible, I must rest right now. And so my system is telling me that a lot. And yeah, that's what I'm seeing. Thank you for both of you for sharing that with me.
Oh, thank you for sharing. Nikki, I saw a question come in, but for whatever reason I can't see it. Do you want to come on and ask it with your voice?
Yeah, it was me. I was just thinking about what you were saying, and I was wondering about when you feel that your mind shift doesn't change much, because sometimes I feel like my mind shift, I take time out and I do some yoga and stuff, but I still have this general sort of sense of, a bit of a low mood, and I'm trying to make quite a big decision in my life just now, and I want to make sure it comes from the right place. And I just wondered if you would have anything to say to that, really.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, you're not in charge of when it shifts, but you can get sensitive to the change happening. You can get the incremental change. You don't have to be in a high state in order to make a decision, by the way. Please don't let this become, I can't make any decisions until, because that's just another rule we're making up. But I love that your wisdom is tuned into the fact that you do have a big decision to make, and maybe waiting it out a little bit is going to be helpful. So again, that exercise, what are your indicators, Nikki, for a better mood versus a low mood? So if you know you're in that lower state, what are your indicators for a better mood? And when you're there, that's a very trustworthy place from which to start to contemplate life's bigger choices. But you go in and out of that all day. Nobody is in a constant low mood. So you might wake up first thing in the morning and be on floor 100 of 100, and by 11 o'clock you're on floor 3. And then at lunchtime you're on floor 50, and then maybe at 5 o'clock you're back up on floor 100. So if you could get a little bit sensitive to, where you're at, and just know you can't make a wrong choice. Your wisdom is you are so plugged into the mains already that even in a low mood, you already know what you want to do. And it might be a simple case of a few minutes of that breathing and just checking in. Do I go this way? Yes or no? Do I go that way? Yes or no? Which one feels better? I loved my former coach, Michael Neal, has an exercise where he takes a 50-cent coin or something, and he says, right, path A, we go, path A is heads and path B is tails. Which one do you hope it lands on? Well, I hope it lands on heads, because actually I would like to go to California, let's say, is the choice. I'm hoping it lands on head, hoping it lands on the heads. And he flicks the coin and it lands on tails, and you feel eternally disappointed that you're not actually going. And he said, it's not which way it lands. It's the feeling, where did you want it to land? Do you hear that, Nikki?
Yeah, that's a good one. Thank you. Yeah.
It's not my example, so it's a little harder to share. But anyway, thanks for your question. Great to see you all here today, and just a couple of little updates in between. We're back here next week at the same time, and myself and my colleague Dominic Scafidi, who was on the call earlier, actually, we're hosting a workshop, Falling Back in Love. So an end to living resistant and effortful. And that's coming up on May 6th and 7th. If you'd like a bit more information on that, let me know. We recently recorded a Less is More workshop with myself and Mavis Carn. That's available for purchase on replay. So let me know if you'd like that. That's available for purchase on replay. I think we're doing, I think we've got about 10 people that are keen on that. So let me know if you're interested in that, if you want information. And finally, since I'm not taking on any longer term projects, I have really tuned into what I could offer. And aside from this coaching clinic weekly, if you'd like to go deeper with me personally, I am available for some one-off sessions. So I'm pricing those at £150 per session. And again, that is something that if you would like to just come in and have one-to-one with me, that's a new thing that I'm making available. You're hearing it first. I haven't announced it to anybody else on my audience. And yeah, if that speaks to you, get in touch. All right, ladies and gents, lovely to see you today, and I hope this was helpful.